Very good morning, cadets. Welcome to the online session, class 8th. We are in the process of introducing the chapters of history, our past part 3. And today, let me introduce the last or the 10th chapter of history. I told you the 2 chapters are deleted from the textbook. That's the reason why this soft copy of chapter is of old textbook version. So it is not 12th chapter, it is a 10th chapter. Cadets, you know, in the last 2 video sessions, we understood various events which were involved in the Indian freedom movement, formation of Indian National Congress. Not only formation of Indian National Congress, later of course we studied about how the Indian National Congress under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi led the freedom movement and finally culminated in attaining freedom from the clutches of imperial rule or from the rule of British. So today, the last chapter, chapter number 10th, that is India after independence. It is very clearly says that in this chapter we are studying about how India responded or reacted to the freedom which we attained from the British. India after independence means in this chapter we are going to study about the nation building process of India. The nation building process of India means, like today we have a systematic government in the central and state, we have a constitution, we have an established judicial system, we have a good foreign policy, good relation with the various countries. So today we crossed 70 plus years of our independence. But how India emerged to this level, that is what we are going to study about in this chapter, that is India after independence. Unfortunate, of course, incidents which took place immediately after independence is the country divided into 2 because of the demand by the Muslim League. So division of India into India and Pakistan. There is a first incident, of course an unfortunate incident, because the division of country on the religion basis created a lot of problems. For example, you see 8 million refugees who lost everything and they landed in India. So 8 million refugees, and the government had a problem of taking care of them, and there was also a problem of more than 500 princely states were there, like Wadars of Mysore, Nawabs of Awadh, Nizam of Hyderabad, Junagadh, like that. More than 500 princely states were there those days, means when India got independence, and these princely states were ruled either by Maharajas or Nawabs. I told you, for example, Mysore was an independent state when India attained freedom. Mysore was not a part of Indian Union. Later only it was merged by the effort of Vallabhbhai Patel. One major thing which is we are going to study, that is about writing of a constitution. So a constitution is written. So between 1946 and November 1949, some 300 Indians had a series of meetings on the country's political future. The meeting of this Constituent Assembly. So the Constituent Assembly was a committee which was mainly assigned the task of framing the constitution. So because of their effort, Indian Constitution was framed in the year 1949, on 26 November 1949, and adopted on 26 January 1950. So in this chapter we are going to study about the Constituent Assembly led by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, drafting committee led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The next major topic of this chapter what we are going to study is that how were states formed. Like today we have Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat. We have all the states on the basis, these states are created on the basis of language. But when India attained freedom, these states were not there, because India was ruled by the British as a Madras Presidency, Bengal Presidency, Bombay Presidency. So typical states were not there. So what is the next major task taken by the newly formed government in India? That is about linguistic division of states. So linguistic division of state was one of the greatest demand. Initially the demand is came from Andhra Pradesh. So a leader named Potti Sriramulu demanded for creation of Andhra Pradesh as a state on the basis of Telugu speakers, or the basis of language. So not only he demanded for creation of states on the basis of language, he went on hunger strike, and because of his hunger strike, of course he went on hunger strike till his demand was met, and he died fasting for a separate state for Telugu speakers. This resulted a lot of hue and cry, and he demanded that we want Andhra, and this has happened during the time of 1952, during time of general elections, because India became republic in the year 1950. Once India became republic, the next immediate task was declaration of general election for the formation of government. So this is what we are going to study, that is linguistic division of states. So in the demand of linguistic demands means division of states. So on December 1952, 58 days of his fast, Potti Sriramulu died. The news of the passing away of Sriramulu influxed entire Andhra chaos, and as a result, finally the government was forced to agree creation of Andhra Pradesh as a state. So on 1st October 1953, a new state of Andhra Pradesh came into being. So after the creation of Andhra Pradesh, then the government of India established a state reorganization commission. So states reorganization commission was set up, in the year 1956. In the State Reorganization Commission in the year 1956, few states were formed. They are on the basis of language: Assamese, Bengali, Oriya, Tamil, Malayalam and Telugu speakers. So this is how the formation of states on the basis of language or linguistic division of state started in India immediately after independence. So you can see here the map of the condition of India in the year 1947, making of linguistic state, princely states, British India. So you can see here the large part of India, for example this area, okay, all ruled by India, by the British. So they were all ruled by the British, and there were few princely states as well. What is princely states means? States ruled by either by Nawabs or by the Maharajas. So major princely states you can see: Jammu and Kashmir, Rajputana, Hyderabad, and of course Mysore, it is mentioned here, and the Madras state. So this was a condition of India when India attained freedom. So this map is related to 1947. So this is a map 1956. A state caused to be a princely states. So here only few left at that time. Left over all the other states. You can see the present day India map. Of course, in this you can see Karnataka is not there because those days it was a Mysore province, Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad province, okay, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Ajmer, Saurashtra, that is of course Gujarat, Goa, DU, Daman. Now very important, very interesting fact you have to remember here, because Goa, Pondicherry, Yemen, okay, DU and Daman, Dadar and Nagar Haveli. If you remember here, Goa, DU, Daman, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahi. So Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahi, Yanam and Chandranagar, they were all controlled by French. And Goa, DU, Daman, Dadar and Nagar Haveli controlled by the Portuguese. So if you remember chapter number 2, Portuguese established their trading company in India by defeating Adil Shahis in the year 1510. So after 1510, Goa, DU, Daman, Dadar and Nagar Haveli controlled by the Portuguese. At the same time, Pondicherry, Karaikal, Yanam, Mahi and one more place, that is Chandranagar. Chandranagar is near Andhra Pradesh. controlled by French East India Company. French East India Company landed in 1664. This is a figure number 5, that is the Indian map in the year 1956. So now you have to understand, by 1956 Portuguese were there in India, that is Goa, Diu, Daman, Dadar and Nagar Haveli was still under the control of Portuguese, but other than that the entire union was under the control of Government of India. So this map of 1956, so look at figure number 5. Notice how the princely states disappear in figure number 5b. Identify the new states that were formed in the year 1956, later languages of these states. So Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala formed on the basis of language. That's why it's called as linguistic division of states. So planning for development is nothing but the Government of India established a planning commission. The planning commission to design and execute suitable policies for economic development, and they devised the policy called mixed economy model. What do you mean a mixed economy model means? We are not neither capitalist economy nor the socialist economy. We are mixed economy. That means we have a balance between capitalistic and socialistic model. Of course, when I am explaining you the chapter, I'll explain you in detail about capitalistic model of economy and the socialist model of economy. This first 5-year plan and the second 5-year plan. The second 5-year plan was formulated in the year 1956. So now, of course, we don't have planning commission. So planning commission is replaced now by Niti Aayog. So earlier we had a planning commission, that is called 5-year planning commission. Means the planning commission used to plan for 5-year model development on a particular sector. So presently we don't have planning commission. In place of planning commission we have Niti Aayog. And this very interesting one, when India attained freedom, the whole world was divided into 2 groups. One group led by United Nations and another group led by Russia. So there was a conflict or the rivalry between United States of America and USSR. This rivalry led to the situation of Cold War. Cold War is nothing but ideological war. So when India attained freedom, there was a threat that if we joined any one of the group, let it be group led by America or led by Russia, then definitely we are at loss, because newly attained freedom will go. That's the reason why India designed a new policy which is called as non-alignment policy. That means we remain neutral. We remain neutral without supporting any groups or the polar. Then finally what happened to India? India remained non-alignment movement, means we remained independent. That means the countries which Those who are not interested to join any of the groups, they made their own group. That is what non-alignment policy. So this regarding non-alignment policy also we are going to study in this chapter in brief. So finally the chapter ends with the topic the nation 60 years on. That means India attained freedom. Of course this is 60 years on means the time when the book was published. So the final question is that now nearly 70 years of independence is over. What is our level of achievement? That is what finally the chapter ends. So that is the nation 60 years on. So cadets, the chapter number 10 is the last chapter in the history which we are going to study. So with this, the introduction to the chapters from the history, it is over. Once it is completed, then I'll take up civics, and then of course we will start the regular class, means detailed discussion of each and every chapter. I request you to go through each and every video. You can subscribe my YouTube channel. So write down important points, because we have enough time now, because in the month of maybe 2022 March you may have examination. You have enough time. So that's the reason why try to understand and make the notes and all those things, so that you will be very happy in the process of learning. That's very important. Anyhow, I'll meet you in the next video session. Till then, take care. Wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.